Welcome back. On today's video we're talking about how fasting works. This is a really common question and it's understandable that people don't really get it because it's been drilled into our head that we must have breakfast. It's really bad to skip meals. So what is the benefit of fasting? So the idea that it's really important to eat regularly is kind of maybe cultural, it may be because of bad science or because of what we've been taught in terms of being marketed at by breakfast cereal companies to get us into this idea that we must have breakfast. Now I'm at a camp at the moment and out of all the breakfasts they have, none of them have no sugar, even the supposedly healthy ones. And what you're doing when you're eating sugar first thing in the morning is you're spiking insulin, which is going to make it very difficult for you to lose fat. It's going to put your body in a fat storage state. So what fasting does is, I always use the example of having two fridges. So you have a fridge in your house and you have a freezer in your garage. Now if it was you or me, we'd always prefer to get food from the fridge. We'd always go downstairs and just, if we're feeling peckish, go straight to the fridge and get what's in there. And the freezer would be a bit of a mission in terms of getting down to the freezer. So the body is the same. We have glucose, which is circulating kind of energy in our body, and we have glycogen in our muscles and liver, which is kind of stored energy, which is quick release. It's very easy for our bodies to get to that. And then we have our fat, which is our fat stores, and those are similar to having stuff in the freezer. Now what happens when you're fasting is you have something called a basal metabolic rate, which is how much your body burns at rest. So right now I'm going for a run, but even if I wasn't running, just breathing, walking around, thinking requires energy. And that level of energy is called your basal metabolic rate. That's how many calories you burn at rest without doing anything else. Now, if you haven't eaten, so if you don't have any food in the fridge, then your body has to go to the freezer, your body has to burn fat stores. And that's the essential process for the most common reason why people do fasting, which is to lose fat. So you haven't eaten, your body needs energy, it has to get it from somewhere, so it will go to your fat stores, because from an evolutionary perspective, that's what they're there for. They're there as stored energy for times when you haven't eaten. So that's the simple process on how intermittent fasting works. It changes your body from burning food from the fridge to burning food from the freezer. It changes your body from burning fuel, which is in your bloodstream, to burning fat for fuel, which is really beneficial. For obvious reasons, in terms of increased weight size is linked to lots of health conditions. So if there's anything that you can do to help you burn fat and reduce your waist size, it's going to be really beneficial for preventing a lot of chronic diseases like heart attack, diabetes, neurodegenerative disorders are linked to body weight as well. So let's get into that. Was the process for fat loss. There's other processes like apoptosis. That's recently someone's won a Nobel Prize for their work on intermittent fasting and apoptosis, which is basically cell recycling. There's lots of cells in the body. Cancer is basically just cells going crazy and taking over the body, and this tumor just becoming this entity inside you which just wants to eat away at everything. And that was originally one of your cells which mutated and went wrong. And apoptosis is a process where your body starts to recycle these bad cells, and what we now know is that fasting promotes apoptosis, so it kills off the bad dead cells in the body so that your body can do that process more effectively, because it has more time to do that. When you're constantly eating, or you're eating more regularly, then your body doesn't have as much time because it's focusing on digestion. So that's another benefit. There's lots of other benefits in terms of glucose and insulin response. So what happens when what people have diabetes type 2 is they're eating foods with carbohydrates or sugar in it, and their body is releasing insulin, but their body is a bit resistant to that, or their cells are a bit resistant to that insulin. And what fasting can do is, because you have a longer fasting period, it can actually start to resensitize those cells and reverse diabetes. So that's a big claim, but fasting is probably the best intervention to help people with type 2 diabetes manage their diabetes, or even begin to reverse it. So I don't say that taking it lightly. So there are lots of benefits. I could go on all day in terms of why people should try intermittent fasting. That said, it's not right for everyone. You should consult your doctor if you're unsure whether it's right for you and your family practitioner. But for most of us out there, it's a really useful tool for managing our weight and staying healthy, getting more energy, keeping fit, functioning at our best. So hopefully this clears up the question of how does fasting work. It works by getting your body to burn fat for fuel effectively. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. Catch you on the next video.